It was Jannik Sinner's first match in under 2 hours, an hour 48 minutes, 3-2-1. He takes out the 8th seed Alex de Minaur, losing only 10 total points on his serve, just 1 in the final set, 27 winners, absolute dominance. In Cincinnati, Sinner has now won 34 of his last 35 matches, losing only to Alcaraz in Beijing. 19-match hardcourt major win streak, the 2 titles, U.S. here in Australia, where he's now 2 matches away from defending. Chris, Mary Jo, Brad, we're still here holding down the fort all day up here in the skybox. BG, you mentioned something watching Sinner. You said, this reminds me, Djokovic about 4 or 5 years ago, where he would hit the quarterfinals. And you just saw straight sets all the way to the finish line.
Yeah,
that's a big,
Chris Fowler would
big
get
prediction.
a little disillusioned that, like, it's not going to be 9-0 again. And the way Sinner played tonight, he sent a message. But the first 2 rounds, he was tested. Remember, Jari played big against him, took him to a couple of breakers. Schoolgate took a set off him. I do think if Sinner plays at that level, it is extremely difficult for everybody. But I do think that Ben has an element of his game that's completely different than what we saw from de Minaur. He can get hot serving, could go to a breaker. He can take some more risk on the forehand. So he presents much more of a problem. You know, obviously, like I said, if Sinner's at that level, very difficult to beat. But I do like Ben's chances to make it much more of a match.
I agree, but you heard Sinner. He was feeling it tonight. I mean, the timing was just flawless. He only faced 1 break point. He broke de Minaur 6 times, a lot more winners than unforced errors. Even though this has been a great matchup for him, he still is going to get tremendous amount of confidence from the way that he played. Ben has to do a lot of good things in that matchup. He's going to have to serve unbelievably well, which obviously is his strength, but he's also going to have to make more returns, and he's going to have some shot tolerance. He's not going to be able to win those points with just 1 shot.
They have gone to several breakers, though.
So I will
tell you. Beat him the 1 time.
Yeah.
So I think no rhythm will be the key for him.
I'll give you an easy word. De Minaur is predictable. Ben is unpredictable, and he can play high, he can play fast, he can chip, he can hack. So there's a lot more unpredictability. And you actually have to go to the court knowing that. So when you go to the court playing against de Minaur, you kind of know what he's going to do, and he's not going to change.
Yeah, the points look very similar every single time. Where with Ben, maybe he'll serve and volley, maybe he'll come in after the return, he'll drop shot. That's what he's going to have to do, add that variety.
Let's see what he did tonight. It was overnight, probably while you were sleeping back home there on the East Coast, taking on Lorenzo Sonego. Sonego unseeded and trying to get into a semifinal of a major for the first time, and he's 29.
That was a big shot on the court. Besides the serve, Ben's forehand was very dominant. It looked like this was going to go pretty comfortably for Ben, Brad, after the first couple sets. That was the shot of maybe the shot of the tournament. Look at the way he has back spin. It comes back on his side. He's had a few.
If you have the top 5, he might have 3 of them. But late in the 3rd set, inexplicably, Ben played 1 bad game, dropped his serve at 40 love, and then Sonego made this a much more difficult match. Made Ben have to work, you know, till the very last point.
Shelton only had 9 aces in the match, and when you talk about free points he needs against Sinner, how many more does he need?
He's got to drop 25.
25 aces.
Yeah, and I don't believe he's ever dropped more than 20, and he has that capability. I think he needs to drop a 25 spot to be able to beat a Sinner. That's the first number I will look at.
Wow, after the win into the semifinals here in Australia, 2nd one of Grand Slam play, he spoke with Chris Button.
Congratulations, Ben. You wrote battle test. It was a battle. What are you most proud of being able to pull that one out?
For me, finding different ways to win on the tennis court. I didn't serve great today. You know, my biggest weapon wasn't really there, start to finish. I had a little bit of struggle getting free points on the serve, and to be able to pull out that match in 4 sets with a guy who's striking the ball and playing like that, for me, it's an impressive win, and just happy to be moving on.
When your serve isn't there, or the ace serve, what are you telling yourself of what I need to be able to do this? And how much growth has that come in the last couple of years?
Yeah, you want to keep the first serve percentage high no matter what. So for me, I got to go for a little bit less, hit different types of serves. I was hitting a lot of serves in the net today, so hitting more kickers, balls out of the zone. when a guy's taking full cuts and connecting a lot, that can make it real difficult. But I think adapting on the fly is such an important quality of a great tennis player, and something that I'm learning to do better and better.
There's such this joy and confidence in you out there. You're out there with the push-ups. Where does that come from?
I think just trusting myself. Obviously, every time that I'm out on the court, maybe it's a kid's only time in his life that he'll watch me play. And for me, having a bunch of people screaming out there for me, caring about me, have my family at home who've sacrificed a lot for me to be in this situation. It's obviously a blessing and something I don't take lightly or take for granted. So I want to give my best effort whenever I'm out there and be passionate about it and have fun with it.
You're in a semi. We saw Taylor Fritz in the finals of the U.S. Open. What does it say right now about the state of men's tennis back in the U.S.?
Yeah, Fritz in the final, playing Foe in the semis there, me in a semi here. Obviously, Tommy, another great run. He's been Mr. Consistent. We'll now have 2 guys in the top 10 guaranteed after this tournament with Tommy and Taylor, which is really, really cool. And I'm just excited for the future of American tennis to be a part of that and see the young guys coming through, Lerner Tien having his breakout moment, and Nishesh Basavareddy, Alex Mickelson. It's just, I'm sorry for the guys that I didn't mention, but there's too many right now, and it's really cool to see.
Congratulations. We'll see you in a couple days.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, and thanks, Ben, for the time once again. He's a good egg, that Ben Shelton. You know, if he wins his match against Sinner, he gets in the top 10 too, BG.
We could have 3 in the top 10. I tell you, I mean, from where he, was to start the tournament, you start cutting your ranking in half in one tournament, you're doing something really good.
Again, this is in 2 days' time. That is Friday night, local here, early Friday morning back home.